Hey guys, welcome back to the Art of Craftsmanship. My name is Dustin, and today in the shop we're going to be building a double burner forge. So I've been using my same bucket forge which you've seen in other videos for several years now. It's worked really well and it works great for doing heat treating for knives, anything from small knives up to medium-sized knives. But anything bigger than that, and any steel bigger than that's really hard and doesn't really work great in the forge. So I've been really getting into blacksmithing and kind of want to make bigger things and bigger projects. I want to be able to use and move bigger pieces of steel. So I'm going to be building myself a forge, which will actually hold all that steel and be able to burn and heat up well enough to be able to do all that. And this is going to be kind of a forge that's got to build out of all sorts of different things. I have some steel that I had from an old lawn roller. I have bricks, refractory bricks that were given to me from a friend of mine. I did purchase the burners. It's going to be a double burner forge, so I purchased the burners from Mathewson Metals. And the rest of these things I've just picked up from a normal hardware store. So not super expensive, just something that I'm going to put together, but should work really well as a double burner forge. First thing we're going to do today is going to start on the design. So I'm going to kind of show you what I'm thinking. I'll draw it in the sketchbook so we can all see together, and then we'll start building it. My plan is to use a total of 12 bricks. So I'll have 4 bricks on the bottom, 4 bricks on the top, and then 2 bricks per side. And then the burners will come down through where the bricks intersect. I'll have gaps here for the burners to come down through to be able to burn inside. And as you can see, the whole thing is held together. I'll have angle iron on all 4 corners. The top and bottom will be made out of sheets of steel, which I'll then screw these flanges into, and those will hold the burners. And then everything's going to be held together just by tension by threaded rod, which will be bolted and drilled through all of the angle iron. So in total it'll be 18 inches deep, 9 inches wide across, and then 7.5 inches tall. What I'm going to use to do the sheet steel for the top and bottom is this, which came from an old lawn roller. I cut it apart with the intention to use it for different projects, and this will work perfectly. So this is about a 1/16 of an inch thick, and it's 21 inches long, so it's going to work really well because I need more, because I need to have 18 inches the whole forge. So this is going to give me some more room on both ends to be able to drill through and be able to mount everything with a threaded rod. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces out of this. Both will be the 21.5 inches by 9 1/8 inches wide, which is the length of my bricks. So I'll cut out both sheets from this, and then I'll flatten them on the anvil. right, so I've successfully gotten the angle steel. This is galvanized angle steel down without losing the rest of my wood up on top of my wood rack. This is what I'm going to be using to hold everything together. So again, this is just 1.5" angle galvanized steel, which I'll cut to length to fit the top and the bottom, 4 pieces. Spending a little bit of time getting all this stuff set up and everything organized in the way that I'm going to have this eventually all attached together. So I have my plate steel on the bottom, the corner steel on the sides, and then 4 bricks. This will be the base of my forge. I'll have bricks on the sides and the same setup on top. But I want to make sure everything's aligned right and it's all evenly in the center, so that way I can drill pilot holes through the plate steel and through the corner pieces of steel to hold everything together. So I'm just getting it all set up, make sure it's all measured, nice and even, everything's as straight and even as possible, and then I'll drill those pilot holes. And now what I want to do before I take everything apart and actually drill them all at the drill press is I want to mark all of it, everything. So I'm going to mark each brick on the bottom, 1 through 4 here, 5 through 8 on here, and then each hole in each corner I'm going to mark as well, 1 through 8, starting on the bottom to the top. That way, once I take everything apart, drill it all, put it all back together, they'll all line up exactly where I have it here and now, so I know it'll fit really well. So I'm going to have 2 holes coming down through the intersection of these 2 bricks where my 2 forge burners are going to come through. So I need to mark off where these bricks end so then I can cut holes in the top plate so the forge burners will come through and go through these bricks. There we go. Once again, because these holes are just there to accept the burners through, I'm not worried about them being cut perfectly or circles that are going to fit exactly. They're going to be covered up by the flange and the brick on the other side. So I'm just going to use the angle grinder and just cut straight lines. So I'll make that mark and then I'll just use my square. Draw a square line coming out to reference off of. And then I'll do that to the second brick as well. So I brought my grounder outside and I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting these bricks. Now, anytime you cut bricks, it's gonna throw a lot of dust everywhere. So if you can get outside and set it up, do that. I have a movable vise that I used here and I have these that I'm gonna cut. I'm also gonna cut the back brick. So I have a longer brick that's narrow that I'm gonna cut to be the back door of the entire forge. So when I don't need to burn, and actually heat steel all the way through the forge, I can kind of put that in and contain some of the heat inside the forge. looks like all of my holes are lining up well. So I'm gonna go ahead and mount these now. Make sure everything fits right. Here you can see that I've used these kind of just rounded heads. They don't sit out too proud of this surface, and it won't really matter, but this is what's going to be in contact with the bricks on the bottom side. So I just tried to get something that wasn't too proud here. So they're just kind of rounded over heads. So I'm using these threaded pipe nipples to attach the burners here. And this one I've already cut off. So I just need to cut the threads off of this side of this one, and then we'll attach it to the second flange. Perfect. All right. To be able to attach the burner to this, I'm going to drill out 3 holes and thread in 3 ⅛/28 bolts. So the 3 of these will come in and will hold that burner right in the center. And I have a tap and die set, but before I did, I had purchased this, and this is the right one. This is a ⅛/28. So you can buy individual ⅛/28 or any tap and dies. This one specifically has the drill bit you need, and it has the actual tap to tap out the threaded center of that hole. This is the tap for my ⅛/20 drill bit, and so this actually has hardened cutters that will go through and will cut the threads on the inside of the pipe. So, and I just have this little hand chuck here, which I'll attach, and then I'll just slowly work this into the holes, cutting the threads and backing out as I go. Anytime you're using a tap and you're tapping out a hole, you just want to kind of get it started. Once you feel it to bite and get started, then go through a little bit, maybe a turn and a half, and then you want to back out. So what you're doing is you're clearing out any of that steel that's been cut from the threads. You go back in, start biting. You want to turn maybe a turn and a half, and then back out a little bit. You don't have to back out all the way, you just want to back out enough that you can clear out that cut metal from your cutting threads. We'll just go a turn and a half, back out, keep going. So, and then eventually you'll feel it cut through. So now I've cut all the way through, and I'm just going to continue turning it maybe 5 or 6 turns to make sure I have it cut clean and clear all the way through. Back it out, and we're good to go. And that is the last one of our 6 holes. Now let me show you everything I have here and what we're going to put together. So these are the 4 wall bricks and the back door of the forge. These are the 4 top bricks with the holes cut out that will accept the burners. We have the threaded rod and the hardware, which will hold everything together. We have the corner steel and the top metal plate with the flanges attached that will take the burners in here. We have the 2 pipe nipples with the hardware that'll hold the burners in place. Then we have the bottom plate and the hardware and the corner steel that'll hold that, as well as the 4 bricks that will be the floor of the forge. And the last thing we have is the double burner, which will then act and burn everything together. We'll put that in last. Let's go ahead and start building it. I have each foot set at 4 inches. These threaded rods are 15 inches and the whole forge is going to be 9.5 inches tall, so that leaves me with enough at the top to bolt it together. This way I have the whole forge will be sitting off of whatever surface it's sitting on, so if there is some heat coming down below, we'll have some room below it. I'm just fine-tuning the height of my legs to make sure they're all the same height. And the height that I want is 4 inches from the bottom of the threaded rod up to the nut. So that is. So I'm setting these in to just about, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch above the inside of the stone on the inside. So that way the flare at the end is actually sitting up inside the stone about, just about maybe 1/4 inch or so. All right, the last part of the process is actually hooking it to the propane tank. So what I have here is just a standard 20 PSI regulator, and this is the way I can control the pressure coming from my propane tank into the burner. So you definitely want a regulator to be able to control your pressure. So I'll attach this end to the propane tank, and then I'll use Teflon tape and attach it here to the burners. And then we'll start it up and see how she runs. Right. All right, guys, well, thank you so much for watching. This turned out really great. I'm super happy with the way it all came together. Everything was exactly how I kind of wanted it to go, and you can see it's still steaming. There are things burning off. These bricks have been inside and outside, and so they're moist, and they kind of have some stuff growing on them. So I'll have to burn that for a while to get everything cleaned up and burned off. And also, the burners are burning okay. This one's burning really well. This one's a little bit funky, so I'm just going to make some fine tuning, maybe some of the airflow or about how far they're down inside the forge. So I'm going to tweak those a little bit to make sure everything's running really well for our upcoming videos. We'll be doing some blacksmithing videos and some knife making videos, which will both be utilizing this forge. So stay tuned for that. And as you can see, I'm wearing our new The Art of Craftsmanship 2019 logo t-shirt. This is the first t-shirt we have for the channel, and this is a great way if you want to help support our channel and support what we're doing and you enjoy watching these videos. Go over, we'll put a link in the description below and you can purchase these shirts. They're only $20. It's a great way to support the channel. So we really have been just having a great time making things and doing stuff for you guys. You can also follow me on Instagram at the Art of Craftsmanship. I take lots of pictures and put up things there as well for the channel. So this was an awesome build. We really enjoyed it. We hope you did as well, and we'll see you guys on the next video.